Are you ready to level up and take that next step into the entrepreneur or business owner or executive that you know you can be? You know in your heart of hearts that you are destined for more than where you're currently at, but there is something slowing you down from hitting that next level of success, or there is something getting in the way of you getting to that space where you know how good you really are and how other people know who you are and how good you are, and you're not the best kept secret any longer. Well, look, I've written 4 best-selling books, and at every stage of my adventure, at every time I've wanted to level up, I've used a book to do it. Now, at the very beginning, I didn't really understand this, and so I'm going to walk you through why I wrote a book, why I wrote each of the 4 books I've written, what each one did for me, and what you can learn from that so you can see what the potential is for you to write a book. Now, I'll take you back. In 2016, I released my first book called Elevate Beyond. I could not have predicted what would have happened since then. This has been a crazy, crazy adventure, but let's walk through it. The first book I wrote was called Elevate Beyond. I was working for the Lakers in a full-time capacity. I was a corporate partnerships assistant. It was my first real job out of college. It also happened to be Kobe Bryant's final NBA season. Now, I knew that I didn't want to just be average in my early 20s. I wanted to do something extraordinary. I wanted to do something against the curve. I wanted to do something that would help me stand out. And after watching how great Kobe is and being one of the greatest basketball players ever, and working for an organization like the Lakers, I knew that I had to do something. And what eventually came out of it was my very first book. So at 23 years old, Kobe retires, I retire from the Lakers, and I launched my very first book called Elevate Beyond. Now, what was crazy about this was that this book put me on the map and made me start going big in other aspects of my life. Not only was I 23 years old and I had a best-selling book, but this book started my speaking career. Within 90 days of me launching this book, I had my first gig that paid me multiple thousands of dollars. I got this book into colleges across the country. It led to me doing something that I called Elevate America, where I traveled the country, living in different states around the United States to really experience America, because I had only ever lived in Southern California. But what was really crazy about this is when we talk about next level, not only did it launch an entire new career that has now been a huge factor and part of my life, but what it also did was it made me think big. Because I had this best-selling book, I couldn't now just go back and be an assistant for a sports agent. I had to do something bigger and better, and I had to make a name. I had to do something so that I could continue to stand out from the crowd. And so that led me to creating my basketball event called the Professional Basketball Combine, which that event led to us working with over 70 NBA players over 3 years, helping them sign their first professional contract. Those people have gone on to make $250 plus millions of dollars playing in countries all over the world. But it was all because I took the chance at 23 years old and wrote that first book. Not to mention that here we are years later, 8 years later, almost a decade later, and I still, every single semester, every single year, people are buying this book over and over and over again. Huge, huge, huge thing. My second book came 2 years later, and this was called Elevate Your Network. Now, at this time, I had been on the speaking circuit, and I knew that I was starting to try to figure out, how do I get to the next level as a speaker? Well, I knew that if I wanted to be the next level speaker, I had to write a book that would land with my ideal speaking audience. And since I did a lot of work with high school students and leaders, college leaders and educators, really focusing in that sector, that's where I was doing a lot of my speaking, probably 80+% of my speaking. Well, I wanted to write a book that was designated to help people in that category. And so I wrote the book Elevate Your Network, which is all about building extraordinary relationships in life and business. A lot of the people that read my book were entrepreneurial students. They were people that wanted to get to the next level. And so I had taken my experience and my knowledge from other people, and I combined that to put that in a book. Well, here's what happened. Not only did that book have more success than the first one right off the bat, but that book got me my first international speaking gig, where I did a 10-day speaking tour in China. I also had speaking gigs that were paid that got lined up before the book released, because I was releasing a book that was very, very topic specific. It was about networking and relationships. If you didn't want a speaker on networking and relationships, you wouldn't hire me based on that book. You would hire me for my other book or my other topics. And so this was really, really a pivotal thing in taking my speaking career to the next level, because now I was known as the networking guy. People started to know me as the relationships guy. And that started to be really fun because I had keynotes on that, I had workshops on that, and I was able to use the book to really get and build to that next level. What was really amazing though, now looking back, is that book served its purpose, which was get more speaking gigs and be known in the space I wanted to be known in. But what happened was, as my audience started to evolve, as the students got older, as the educators started businesses, as teachers started doing more things, as principals wanted to do their own things, what happened is that the audience of the book started to evolve as I evolved. And what's really fascinating is when you write a book, you want to write it for a specific audience in mind. But just because you write it for one audience, it doesn't mean that other people can't also benefit from your book. And this is exactly what happened. I started to recognize that entrepreneurs were really getting a lot of value from how to network more effectively. So this book then started to bring in leads for entrepreneurial endeavors that I was testing out and trying out. This was also bringing in speaking leads. So now this book, with just a different marketing angle, same book, different marketing angle, was starting to hit different audiences that were both really enjoying my book. Huge, huge, huge opportunity. Again, no matter what your book is, there are going to be opportunities, there are going to be experiences that come out of you taking a chance on yourself that you couldn't have predicted would happen otherwise. All right, let's move to book 3. Book 3 is called The Elevated Entrepreneur. This was an interview style book. I wanted to test out different styles of books, so that was win number 1 that came from this. But what I really wanted to do is I wanted to start, as I was speaking more, I wanted to start doing more in the online space. This was also around the time of the pandemic, early in the pandemic. And so I said, you know what? How can I start to become well known in the online space? I don't really know a lot of people in here. My network wasn't there. And so what I did was I said, let me see if I can write a book. I'll ask the biggest names in the industry who I want to get to know anyways to be featured in that book. I'll see if I can get them on the phone, because that's a huge value add versus just doing a podcast or just putting them on a blog post. Putting them in a book is a lot of work. And I knew that they would respect that. And so what I did was I started to build my network, not by just reaching out, trying to get on people's calendars, but by inviting them to be part of my book, where I'll interview them and I'll promote them to thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And people started to get excited. And so I got in touch with people like Brock Johnson, who's an Instagram superstar, Dr. Nicole LaPera, aka the holistic psychologist, Lori Harder, who now I've ended up building an incredible relationship with Chris Harder. I'm in his mastermind, partially because we were featured in the book. Chris Ducker, John Lee Dumas, Pat Flynn, John Gordon, people that have been in the space, people that were my early role models in this industry. And I had a chance to interview them for this book. Some of these people I'm still very, very close with today, and it's led to incredible opportunities. Other people, we had a great time, but the relationship just didn't take off the way maybe I wanted to, but maybe it wasn't supposed to be. It was all part of this process. Just because you interview someone once doesn't mean you're going to be best friends with them. Okay? Everybody has to be excited about this. So what happened was this book, The Elevated Entrepreneur, not only did it build my network, but it also allowed me to grow my audience, because all of these amazing, amazing people featured in the book promoted the book and talked about the book, and their audience started to come over here, which allowed me to really scale up and grow the coaching side of my business in a digital world. All right? That's how this book can really take you to the next level. If you have the right purpose, the book can serve that purpose. And then my last book, Big Idea to Bestseller, which is all about how to write, publish, and launch a nonfiction book. It's right here. This book I wrote as a way to directly scale my business using a book, because what we teach is how to write a book to grow your business, right? And so I had done these 3 other books, and it had led to so many incredible endeavors. But now I wanted to write Big Idea to Bestseller, which was a direct path to our paid services, our paid offerings. And so what happened is we released this book. It became a direct lead magnet into our paid programs. We've used this book to get unsolicited inbound requests that will pay us $20,000+ to work with them. But this book alone led to an increase of 7 figures of sales in the first 13 months that it came after. Why? Well, because the book was specific to the business offerings that we were teaching. And that was a really, really massive, massive opportunity there. Okay. And now the book's been out for almost 2+ years, almost 2 years, a year and a half. And we've been using the book every single day since it came out in December of 2022. We use the book every single day as part of our marketing materials. We give it away. We talk about it. I run the podcast with it. It's our social content. We use it all day long, and it continues to get people aware, get people into our ecosystem, and ultimately show that I am one of the best people in the world at what we do. But more importantly, that our team, our business, our philosophy is helping so many people be able to take their dream of writing a book and turn it into their reality. So if you noticed, at every stage of my life, I've used a book to get me new opportunities. I've used a book to create an advantage over the people that I'm competing with, over the people that I'm in the same industry as. But most importantly, I've been able to use this to give an advantage to help me create the life that I want to live. And this is all available for you. I couldn't have predicted that I would be here when I first wrote my book, Elevate Beyond, in 2016. But I could have predicted that by writing the book, a lot of things were going to happen. My dad told me this when I got ready to release my first book. He said, Jake, I don't know if you're going to sell 5 copies or 5 million copies, but I know that if you put this book out there, great and unexpected things are going to happen. And that's exactly what's transpired. I've been able to write 4 best-selling books before I turned 30, build an incredible company with some amazing team members. I've been able to travel the world. I found my person. I'm getting married. I'm loving life. And is there still more that I want to do? Absolutely. Can we grow even higher? Absolutely. But I've had an incredible time creating incredible opportunities, all because I took the chance with the book. So I hope that as you're listening to this, you see the potential here of when you write one book, what can happen. But imagine if you allow yourself to stop being the best kept secret, you allow yourself to get to the next level. This is the path. Now, if you really, really believe in this and you want more, visit www.bigideatobestseller.com/free-book. And our team will send you a paperback copy of Big Idea to Bestseller. It's free. Just cover the shipping. We'll send it directly to your doorstep, and you can have the exact roadmap on how to write, publish, and launch a successful nonfiction book. That's what I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed this a lot. And I wish you nothing but the best of success as you embark on your book writing journey. I'll see you on the next one.